On January 17, 2022, Carolyn Burjoski was ejected from a presentation that shed light on the books made available in the library, which resulted in a lawsuit. On January 24, 2022, Scott, who is the chair of the board, also tried to silence Trustee Mike for supporting Carolyn, and this resulted in another lawsuit. Videos have been removed by the board, but I've made them available here. Please share and see links in description.
Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Before we move to approval of the agenda, there are some opening remarks that I and others wanted to share. I'm going to first call on Director Chenica to read a statement that was approved at the recent in-camera session.
Through you, Chair, regarding the Committee of the Whole meeting that happened on January 17th, external legal counsel has confirmed that the board has reduced liability to the board by putting a stop to the delegation and not sharing the video, and that further, the board has taken the necessary steps to reduce harm to WRDSB students, staff, and community, and reduce its legal exposure. The board has been advised that by taking these steps, it is in adherence to board bylaws, board policies, the Ontario Human Rights Code, the Education Act, and Ministry of Education directions. And as such, the board has complied with its obligations and responsibilities as required by law.
Thank you, Director Chenica. I have some opening remarks to add, and then Vice Chair Woodcock has some of her own to add. This is some perspective on the events that transpired at the Committee of the Whole meeting on January 17th. I can understand that those who may not understand the realities and barriers faced by trans-identifying students and people face, and or those without trans people in their lives, might not recognize the subtle code words that are used to marginalize them and delegitimize their existence. While some trustees and some well-meaning members of the community may genuinely not have seen the harm that the delegate caused by what she did say, I can assure you that it was real. It was clear where she was headed. Had she been allowed to continue, the harm may well have become more apparent to all. But if that had been the case, perhaps my decision to stop her presentation might have looked better to some who had questioned it. But I would have felt, and the board would have been, responsible for that added harm. In the past week, I and others at this table have had a taste of the abuse and hatred that trans folks experience every day. While it has frankly been an awful experience, it pales in comparison to the harm that would have been caused to trans students, staff, and members of the community, each and every one. We must continue to uphold that in everything we do, including in our meetings. I would now call on Vice Chair Woodcock, who also wanted to make some opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to acknowledge that the board is committed to ensuring all schools create a culture of inclusivity and foster a safe and healthy environment for all our students. The Ontario Human Rights Code provides that all individuals have the right to protection from discrimination and harassment arising from their gender identity or gender expression. We are committed to supporting and protecting marginalized students, staff, and their families, in particular the trans community. In this regard, I sincerely regret the discussion during the portion of the Committee of the Whole meeting that I chaired on January the 17th, 2022. I am committed to representing all members of the WRDSB community and to the success of all students, including trans-identifying people. I want to thank those members of the community who provided input and helped me to understand how the debate and perspectives shared during the discussion could create harm. It is my view that all students, parents, teachers, and school staff have the right to be safe and feel safe in their school community. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Woodcock. That concludes our opening remarks. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Are there any proposed amendments to the agenda? Trustee Ramsay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. You've had an opportunity as chairperson of the board to make a statement, and my colleague, Vice Chair Woodcock, is also.
Okay, we're moving on to the.
And I do believe
agenda.
the apology should have been for the moral panic that you
Okay,
have created.
come to order, Trustee Ramsay.
Okay? You owe
Order, you are out of order.
an apology,
You are out of order.
including our
You
transgender.
are out of order.
The
Please
panic
stop.
that you've created.
We're
I've
moving on
also
to the approval
spoken.
of the agenda.
I have also.
If you want to make a statement, you can go ahead in another forum. You're out of order at this point. Is there a mover to approve the agenda as presented? Trustee Weston, seconded by Trustee Herring. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented? Opposed to approving the agenda? Abstentions on the agenda?
Again, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You felt it
The
necessary.
agenda is
to mute me.
approved as presented.
Mr. Chair,
and we are
you
going to
owe
move
the entire
on.
community
You are out
an
of
apology
order, Trustee
for
Ramsay.
the moral
You are
panic that
out of
you have
order.
created.
The-
You owe
We have
the
just
community an
approved the
apology.
agenda. Are there any
Mr.
declarations
Chair,
of
I'm sorry.
pecuniary
I'm not
interest?
going to be
Trustee
silenced by you.
Ramsay, you will
You
come
owe
to
the-
order.
Please apologize to the entire community.
Trustee Ramsay will
order.
come to
Panic that you
order.
have created.
Point of
Trustee
order.
Ramsay,
Mr.
Stop.
Chair, apologize
Stop.
to the community.
stop. Thank you. Okay, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we will move on. Any announcements or celebrating board activities? Seeing none, we will move on. We have no regrets tonight. All trustees are in attendance. We had
Can you apologize to the entire community, Mr.
We
Chair?
had 8 delegations this evening. One of them has given their regrets. So could I ask Ms. Rydell to let the first 2 delegations of the 7 into the meeting, please?